Hello everyone, 大家好, and welcome back to Lindsay Chinese Online. I am Dr. Lindsay, and you can call me Wang Lao Shi, which is Teacher Wang in Chinese. In this video, we are going to look at the Chinese alphabet, and we are going to be focusing on the consonants, which are also called initials, but we will talk more about that in a later video. So as we go through the consonants, I am going to divide them into 6 groups based on how they sound. Now, if you're doing your own research on these, you'll find that there are more groups and sometimes you'll find less groups depending on your source. But for me, I just wanted to use a grouping that will make it as simple and clear as possible for you. So I hope you have your books and pencils ready because class is in session. And we are going to start off by looking at the first 4 consonants, which are B, P, M, and F. Now, right away you might say, that looks like English. Yes, they look the same letters, but we say them differently. And of course, in Chinese, they have different names. But before we get to the names, these first 4 are called bilabial sounds, which means you use both lips to pronounce these sounds or to make these sounds. But one might ask, what about the letter F? Yes, that one you'll use one lip and your teeth, but I grouped it with the other 3. And that's why I say you'll see different divisions depending on your source. But for now, we're going to group these 4 together. So the first letter, B, how does that sound? We say bo, bo, bo. Now, the thing about it is it's very light. You barely feel any air. And we use our hand to test it. So when you put your hand before your mouth, you should barely feel any air coming from your mouth. So let's try together. Bo, 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 bo. All right, very good. Now, let's move on to the next one, the letter P. The letter P is po, po, po. And from the onset, you can hear that it is stronger and you can feel a strong force of air coming from your mouth. So let's test it. Po, po, po. The air is so strong that it is actually bouncing back in my face. So that's how you can tell the difference. Po, po, po. Very light air, and po, po, very strong. Now the letter M, that is mo, 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 and it's a bit nasal, so you'll feel here vibrating. Mo, mo. And then we have the letter F. Fo, fo, fo. All right. So far, so good. So let's go through them from the top. Repeat after me. Bo, bo, po, po, mo, mo, fo, fo. Very good. Now we're going to move on to the second set of sounds called the dental sounds. And these sounds are made with the tongue either touching or being near to the teeth. And they are D, T, N, and L. So let's pronounce them together. D, D, T, T, n, n, l, l. Now, similar to the first set of sounds, we have the sound for the letter D. D is very light. Again, you use your hand to test. D, D, D. Shouldn't feel any air at all. Then we have T. Then there you're going to feel some air. T, T, much stronger. Then we have N, N, which is also nasal. And then we have L, L. We call that liquid because it flows smoothly. Now, these sounds so far, the first 8, are very familiar to us, especially English speakers. So it's much easier to get these first 4. However, these sounds in English are much heavier than they are in Chinese. So when we pronounce the sound for B, it is much heavier in English, B, than it is in Chinese, B. Okay, so let's go through them from the top. Repeat after me. B, B, P, P, M, M, F, F, D, D, T, T, N, N, L, L. Very good. The next set of sounds are called the velar sounds. Now, I don't want you to get distracted by all these fancy terminologies. We're focusing on pronouncing the consonants, but I know that some of our viewers will find this information beneficial. All right, so let's continue. Velar sounds refer to the sounds coming from the back of your mouth. So for these letters, G, K, and H, the sounds are G, K, H. For the sound for the letter G, you should not have any air coming from your mouth. For the sound for the letter K, a little bit of air. And then for the letter H, it's very breathy. So let's try it together. Repeat after me. G, G, K, K, H, H. Very good. Now, let's try it from the top. Repeat after me. Po, po, mo, fo, de, te, ne, le, ge, ke, he. Very good. The more you practice, the easier it becomes. Now, believe it or not, we are already halfway there. The next set of sounds are called palatal sounds. Now, these sounds tend to be very tricky, and many people find these ones difficult and even sometimes would want to give up when they get to these sounds. But let us take our time and go through them one by one. So here we see for these sounds we have the letters J, Q, and X. Let's have a look at them. These ones are best explained with the help of a diagram. So let's have a look. So these sounds are made with the tongue high and forward in the mouth. J is tight and light. Q is a bit aspirated, meaning there should be some air. And then X tend to be flat, soft, and airy. Let's try. J, G, G. Then we have Q, Chi, Chi. And then for X we have She, She. So as you look at the diagram, you'll see that the tip of your tongue should be pressed on the bottom teeth. And then for J, G, you're going to raise the front part of your tongue to block the flow of the air. And then you slowly release it while making the sound. G, G. For Q, Chi, it's similar. The tip of your tongue should be pressed on your bottom teeth. And then you're going to raise the middle of your tongue this time to block the airflow and then slowly release the air. Chi. Then for X, you're going to have the tip of your tongue again pressed on your bottom teeth, but this time you're going to raise your tongue, but not all the way up. So you won't block the airflow. And then you just release the air. She, she. Now, there's one common mistake that many people find themselves falling into every time they come across these sounds. They tend to pronounce G like a hard G, G, like the English G in giraffe. Or they might pronounce chi as in cheese. Or they might pronounce she as in girl, she. But they're completely different sounds. The English sounds, as you might already notice, is much stronger or heavier, while the Chinese sounds are much lighter. Okay, let's try from the top so that you haven't forgotten what we've done so far. Let's go repeat after me. Po, po, mo, po, de, te, ne, le, ge, ke, he, ji, chi, si. Very good. Just keep on practicing. The next set of sounds is called the retroflex sounds. This means that your tongue is slightly curled back. So we have the first one, j, and that's ZH, j, and that is kind of a deep J sound with a little airflow. J, j. The next one is CH, 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 ch. And for that, you should release more air than when you're saying zh, ch. Very good. Then we have sh, 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 which is similar to sh in English, but it's deeper. Sh, sh. And then we have another very tricky one for the R, and that's Now for this sound, the tongue position is similar to when you're saying sh. However, the sound this time is coming from your throat. So you should feel a little bit of vibration here. Very good. Let's try them together. Zh, zh, ch, ch, sh, sh, Very good. 很好. Now, let's try them from the top. Are you ready? Let's go. Repeat after me. Po, po, mo, fo, de, te, ne, le, ge, ke, he, ji, qi, xi, zhi, ch, sh, Very good. Now let's continue. The last set of sounds is called the alveolar sounds. And these sounds are produced with sharp airflow at the front of your mouth. So we have the letters Z, C, and S. Very familiar letters, but the sounds not so familiar to many of us. So let's look at them one by one. First one we have is for Z or Z, and that is Z, Z. Then we have the sound for C. This one is tricky. C, C. And then we have for S. S, S. Again we have Z, C, S. Now the Z sound, Z, is really just a light Z sound. Z. However, the sound for C, it's more like TS together, like in the word boots. Boots. That ts at the end would give you the sound for the C. Ts, ts. And then we have the sound for S, 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 which is kind of like a hissing sound. S. And that's it. Let's go through them one more time. Repeat after me. Z, Z, C, C, S, S. Very good. Now, let's try them all from the top. Are you ready? Let's go. Po, po, mo, fo, de, te, N, L, G, K, H, G, Qi, Xi, Zhi, Chi, Shi, Ri, Z, C, S. And there you have it. You have successfully gone through all the Chinese consonants. Good job. When you understand where sounds are made, pronunciation becomes much easier. Now you have officially completed your first lesson with me. And I would encourage you not to stop here when the video ends. Keep practicing. Also, feel free to share in the comment section and talk about what stood out the most to you in this lesson so we can start building our own Chinese learning community right here at Lindsay Chinese Online. See you next class. 再见.